Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the hearing to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and the traditional lands of the Ojibwe, the Cree, Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Ron Merritt. I'll be your chairperson this morning. Introducing the panel members present is Laurie Davidson, and via Zoom is Gail Anderson. Our recording secretary is Jaswinder Kumar, and representing the city of Winnipeg from the assessment department is Mr. Singh. This morning we'll be hearing an application for revision of the business assessment role in accordance with the city of Winnipeg charter. The matters for which revision is requested has been described in each application. We'll limit discussions to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn in testimony, and anybody speaking in these matters must be sworn in. Please be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by City Council and is independent along with the city administration. We make our decisions based on the evidence provided at this hearing and issue a written order that will be available to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decision in respect to the application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to application from exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the board's order. In respect to the hearing this morning, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant. Following the swearing in, we'll then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have. Then it'll be the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each party will have the opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all evidence about the application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each docket item this morning. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live stream recorded and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing items 1 to 14 this morning. So Mr. Kumar, can you affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Mr. Singh, please state your full name. Are you unmuted?
I got, okay, Armon Singh.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Newfield, please state your full name.
Ayrton Newfield.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, we'll just proceed along with the docket. So, Mr. Singh, we're going to go to number 6 Donald Street. So you can take us through your presentation in regards to the business tax appeal. Mr. Singh, the floor is yours.
So this is file number 22-4319. Address 6 Donald Street. Business ID is 29807. Barnes and Duncan Land Surveyors, and its owner occupied. Premise ID is 12249. The area is 12,730 square feet. The base ARV is $15.52. Occupancy costs are $31,825 with an ARV of $229,380. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV of $229,380 based on the board's decision of maintaining the market value. And on page 5, you can see rental comparisons of other office properties, and that's my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, questions of Mr. Singh?
Yeah, just in general, I guess your comps today, they're basically all offices all over the city, and you've applied them to all of them. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say. Yes.
So is the model itself considering the area, or is this a kind of a citywide office value?
So these are the same comparables that was presented in the realty portion as well. And
Okay.
these are, like you said before, these are rental comparables throughout the city, and an assessor has picked these out for us.
Okay, so then I guess I'm just curious if for sake of argument, I'm just picking one randomly, 611 Corydon being the first one, does that have a heavy influence on 6 Donald, or is that really just are you sort of supporting, just showing a full survey of the market?
It's a full survey of the market.
Okay, all right, thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Ms. Davidson Questions.
Just a confirmation, like this was assessment was confirmed at the board of revision, the realty assessment. And it's early in the morning, base ARV of 1552, was that used in the NOI for the realty assessment? Like you've simply carried it through?
Yes, these numbers were used in the realty assessment as well.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, questions of the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, I have none either. So, Mr. Newfield, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. The only real disagreement we're doing today is the rent. We chose $12, and the rent that I'm going to point to on my page 3, number 17 and 18. That's 305 Broadway. That was actually Collier's former office. I would argue much better situated, but similar in terms of their Class Cs. That one's with a tower, so that you do have more tenants in there, but this is a single tenant. But the area at 6 Donald, this is south of the bridge. So this is not really much walking traffic going on through here. This is the transit area, basically, to get into downtown. It's basically a thoroughfare. Situated, Broadway, I would argue, is much better situated, but in terms of quality and what you're sort of getting, it would be very similar. The building itself does have a portion I think it's about 1,600 square feet that's unfinished completely. We just blended it in and used 12 across the whole thing. But it's predominantly office. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Singh, questions of Mr. Newfield?
No questions.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Either party want summation at all?
No, thank you.
Mr. Singh?
No, thank you.
All right, let's move on to 171 Donald Street. Mr. Singh, the floor is yours.
This is file number 22-4743. Business ID is 19158. Access Credit Union Limited. It's owner occupied. There's 5 premises. Premise ID 12322, 12323, 12327, 12332, and 32055 is the basement. All of them are C2 except the basement is an 08, which is substandard basement. The base rents are the premise areas are for the first one 2,960 square feet. Second one is 4,515 square feet. Third one is 3,888 square feet. Fourth one is 2,475 square feet, and the basement is 1,487 square feet. You can see the base ARV per premise. First one is $13.15. Second one is $12.77. Third one is $12.90. Fourth one is $13.31, and the basement is $3.45 for and you calculate adding the occupancy costs for total occupancy costs, you come up with a ARV total of $223,080. Our recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $223,080. And that is based on the board's decision of keeping the confirming the realty market value. And on page 5, you can see the rental comparisons throughout the city, and that's the presentation.
I thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, questions?
Yes. Does this building have a letter class that you would assign to it as a B, C, or D?
I don't have that information with me.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson?
Just a quick question. Is this a one-story building with a basement?
So this is it has 4 floors above grade and 1 basement, which is an 08, which is a substandard basement that the city has put on it, and the rest are C2s.
Okay, thank you very much. That was all my questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Just a question in regards to the cost per square foot. Is that what was applied in the realty assessment? Does this align with what was applied in the realty assessment, these numbers?
Yes, these numbers were applied in the realty assessment. In the realty assessment, we do come up with a base a rental per square foot, just for the NOI, but these numbers have been shown in the realty assessment.
Okay, so it aligns with the number that was in the NOI?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you for your presentation.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, the floor is yours. I note that there is no presentation from you, Mr. Newfield.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the secretary just got a brief from Colliers just about.
No, there was no brief from the Colliers, Mr. Newfield.
Yeah, Bram actually, he missed it. So he just sent it this morning.
This morning?
Yeah, it was, I believe, sent to you and Belen. And I never received an assessor's brief either. It's completely our fault. It was missed, but I'm just wondering if it was received.
Yeah, there is a brief.
Yeah, I didn't see anything, Mr. Newfield. That's why I sort of questioned that.
Yeah, no, I know it's probably in transit. I'm not sure what the panel would like to do. I mean, I would prefer to make an argument on it, but I guess we do have the evidence being laid. But do you have it now?
Yeah, I got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do we want to take panel members? Do we want to take a brief recess and discuss this in regards to?
Okay. Is there in the folder, Mr.
I have it.
Okay. It's not in the SharePoint. I'll just put that in there. Just 1 second, Mr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it's there in the folder. Mr. Assessor, I'll send you an email.
And if I could get the, sorry, if I could get the assessors as well, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sent you an email, Mr. Newfield. Mr. Chairperson, did you get that? Mr. Chairperson? Mr. Merritt,
Hello? Yeah,
can you see the brief in the SharePoint?
yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah. So, Mr. Kumar, I think we're probably going to take, because we'll give the assessor and Mr. Newfield a chance to look through, you know, all that is there. And I think we'll probably take about a 5 or 10 minute recess and discuss what panel members and what we're going to do here.
Okay.
So we'll just shut it down for 5 or 10 minutes. Is that
Yes, Mr.
okay with you, Mr. Newfield?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Singh, you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. All right. Thank you. Call the hearing back to order. Mr. Singh, Mr. Newfield, the panel has decided to proceed with the docket and listen to the presentation. So we've heard from Mr. Singh, and Mr. Singh, you've had a chance to review Mr. Newfield's brief. So the floor goes to Mr. Newfield in regards to your presentation, sir.
Thank you. Today, sir, sorry. So yeah, you do have the brief in front of you. Okay, so we are at $10 overall, and that does include a basement space. We just blended it in as 10. The rent I want to point to today on my page 4, rents, sorry, page or number 8 to 11. Number 8 is the main floor. I believe that's the Oscar's Deli. The other 3 are the upper floors, and that would be what I would rely more on for this property. That is right across the street. There's a parking lot in the way, but that would be a lower quality building that is rented closer to a C. I would argue that this building is a D. It has a lot of issues. The rent I am taking from is a C. However, if you go to my page 8, doesn't illustrate it very well, but what I was trying to show there, that is at one point, I believe in the 90s, they added a floor to this building. The top floor was added after 1964, and it does show in the inside quite glaringly in the staircase. That mostly all you can really see here is the paint peeling, but that is sort of where the new floor meets with the old building. This is mostly just an office. There is a very small bank component, I believe that yeah. So we are just going off the office rent completely, and I think this is assessed as an office as well too. So we feel the 175 Hargrave is a better building in every way, but the rent is quite applicable. And then the 4th floor has 2 small units inside there. Their gross rents are, and that's on my first page and under other. The gross rents are $20.66 and $23.57, where expenses are $12.95. So that's roughly $8.50 and $10.50. And for that reason, we felt the $10 was very appropriate for the rest of the owner-occupied building for $191,560. Thank you.
Okay. I thank you. Mr. Singh, questions of Mr. Newfield?
No questions.
Ms. Davidson?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you for your presentation.
Summation, either party?
No summation.
So just thank you for allowing it and apologies to everyone.
I thank you. We'll go on to 317 Donald Street. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4473, address 317 Donald Street. The bid business ID is 20366. Tenants are Credit Union Central of Manitoba. The premise ID is 29024. The premise area is 24,461 square feet with base ARV per square foot of $15.01. Adding the occupancy costs, total occupancy cost is $61,153 for ARV of $428,340. Our recommendation is to maintain the $428,340. The city has decided to appeal the realty to the municipal board. And page 3, you can see the board's decision on page 2 and 3. They decided to decrease the value, market value. And on page 10 is market study overview of the office buildings, banks. And that's the presentation.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, questions?
Yes, is it not city policy to flow through generally for business taxes when there's a realty decision?
Generally, unless it pertains to the applicant as well, if they want to appeal to the municipal board, they're allowed to. It's the city's decision.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and of course you have your right to appeal. I'm just when this if the city's general position when there's a realty decision is that we're not rehearing this, is that not fair to say?
Again, it's the city's decision. It's the same way that we're going through this process. And if the board has this has decided to maintain it, you have every right to object to the BA as well. It's just the process that the city goes through.
Sure. So you're saying that you're not following the standard policy because it was appealed?
It's not standard policy. What I am saying, it's policy for people to appeal to municipal board if they want to. I don't know how to. It's there as an option.
Okay. Do you know what the rent was applied for at this unit at the realty decision?
That I do not have that information.
Okay. And how many active appeals are on this file for former years or this year?
Pardon?
How many active appeals does the city have on this property?
I don't have that information.
Okay. All right. Those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson?
Yes, I did have a question, and I think you might have said it and I missed it. Did you say that the city was appealing the realty assessment to the municipal board?
Yes, the city has decided to appeal the realty to the municipal board.
Okay. And you had also indicated that clearly the business assessment, it's a policy perhaps of flowing it through, but it's not a requirement. Can you share with us why you didn't flow it through?
I didn't handle the realty, but my best, like my opinion or best, wherever you want to say is they're just appealing the realty value, market value that was decided by the board.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That's all my questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Summation, either party?
No summation.
I haven't presented my.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll take
Mr.
that as a
Newfield,
sign, I
Mr.
swear.
Newfield, yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Newfield, your presentation.
Thank you. I want to point to my page 4. This is how we backwards worked up this assessment. I think it's pretty hard to dispute. The cap was the cap was applied at 725. You'll note the vacancy at 15%. That we went much higher. That's higher than you would normally see, and that was what we requested. We would assume that was granted, but if it wasn't granted, that would actually bring the rent downwards. I don't think there's any reason to doubt that vacancy. The unit that we're discussing is 30,903. Now that is the owner. The reason the square footage is different at 24,461 is because that difference is actually unused. In realty, they do have care and control of it. We had a huge vacancy on it because it is vacant. I mean, the huge portion of that owner space just isn't used. They have no use for it. So for business tax, it isn't occupied. We had an assessor down there, and they acknowledged that, and that's why the area is different from what we're seeing on the realty. But realty, the area still exists, so it's assessed, obviously. The 2020 value had a considerable reduction on the realty as well, and the business tax didn't flow through. So that 2020 assessment at 477 is under appeal. The city then went downwards because of it, but obviously they felt it should go up further. This building here, in and of itself, just want to see what floor. The CCA on my page 4, that's 16,000 square feet. That was vacant since it was basically built. They've been looking for, or sorry, not since it was built. It was occupied, but it's been vacant since 2016. And they were looking for a rent of $14, $15 on it. And after 6-7 years of no interest whatsoever, they got somebody in there at $875. This building has always been a bit of a dispute with the city forever. So I would contend that because of the large reductions, they don't want to flow through for business tax, which is their right. But 99 times out of 100, they don't even want to retry business tax assessments because they say the realty's already been decided. That's never been our position. It is when we're satisfied with the value, of course, but that's the city's position 99 times out of 100. So I feel as though they should be following through this again. And if they had a problem with the flow through, then they have the opportunity to appeal this and retry it with the realty. Because when the municipal board hears it, we won't be hearing the business tax assessment. We'll be hearing the realty, and the business tax will then be decided based on a realty hearing. So if they want to appeal it, that's absolutely within their right. I would suggest that they should also be appealing this business as well, and it should go to 305,760. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newfield. Mr. Singh, questions of Mr. Newfield?
No questions.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson?
I do have a question, and I'm looking at your little table of how you shared with us what the realty was on page 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you indicated that the owner and the area 3903 is this one we're looking at for business, and it's $10, but your average rent is $13.31. With the big spaces being $13.85 and $15.80. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, when you calculated these net rents, were they based on actuals or were they
yeah, so all of the with the exception of exception of the owner, they're all actual paid rents. Those are the paid rents paid by those tenants. The Winnipeg Civic was in there earlier. I think quite simply they overpaid for that property. It was newer at that time, and it was just, it's not really a well situated property. So that's why that the CCA, as I had mentioned, was vacant for so long. They had two separate offers that went in and saw the site, saw the giant tiger out the window, and said, "No, we can't rent here." And I'm not kidding. I think it's funny because it's kind of sad, but it is indicative of what that area really is. It's not attractive. It's north of Portage, and a bit of a dark area between Giant Tiger and the arena. So that's what happened with the $875. The $10. The reason being that it's lower than the rest, even though there's main floor. The first floor, if you look at my page 9, 10, and 11, that would be most of the first floor. So most of it is windowless check sorting facilities that are no longer in use. The building was built when before electronic banking really took off. It was originally the check processing center for all the credit unions in Manitoba. Now that all the check processing is done digitally, there was no need for this space. So it was built, it was basically redundant a year after they built it. So the first floor, while it is on the first floor, I would still say is the lowest quality finishing floor. And it really has a very limited window space, and a large portion of it is taken out by the parking and the entrance to the parking on the main floor. So that then takes out more windows for them. So the 10 is not a direct number. That would be us. We decided at one point that the owner space, and it is the lowest quality space. So we were using the 875 for it, but then we bumped it up to 10 because it is on the main floor.
So the 1410, 1385, and 1580 are higher levels, but you're deeming them to be better space. Is that correct?
Better space in the owner space, certainly, yes. The 875 is the same as the rest of them. It's just that was the lease that they got in there. I would contend that the higher rents are just much too high.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Summation to the party?
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
All right. We'll go to 300 William Avenue. Mr. Singh, your presentation.
This file number 22-4318. Business ID 27058. It's Winnipeg Police Credit Union Limited, owner occupied. Premise ID is 23787. The address is 300 William Avenue. Premise area is 8,612 square feet with a base ARV per square foot of $22.02. The total occupancy cost is $21,530 for an ARV of $211,140. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $211,140 based on the board's decision was to base it on the NOI of the Assessment and Taxation Department with a cap rate of 7.25%. And page 5 are the rent comparables of the premise ID. And that's the presentation.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield?
Yeah. So is this being assessed as an office?
I believe it is.
Okay. Okay, and then the board changed the cap and not the rent.
Well, it's being assessed as a bank.
As a bank, okay.
Yeah.
And is there? this is an exchange, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I see that you have bank rents here. Are any of them in the exchange?
They're in the vicinity, but I would say probably no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson,
I have no questions, thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson,
I have no questions, thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Singh, I think the realty, the board confirmed the realty, did it not?
They decreased the realty, but their decision was based on our net operating income, and I believe cap rate of 7.25%. So cap rate has nothing to do with the ARV.
Okay. I thank you. Mr. Newfield, your presentation.
Thank you. The rent we chose was 18, and that what was applied in 2020. I apologize, but again, I'm missing the rent. That's the exact reason we chose that. I will just speak verbally. The $18 is the rent paid at 650 Main, the WRHA building that was built about 2016 with the parking lot, and that's about a whole block there. And we chose this building. We had that good rent for it, and it should be in here. Again, I apologize, but the one reason that one issue we had always taken with the way that this was assessed is they use banks all across the city. Right now you've got banks downtown. This market is not as strong as Portage and Main. It just isn't, and you're not going to see a whole lot of banks being rented here. But there is right across from City Hall that Royal Bank. I don't have the rent. I've never seen it, but I would think that the assessment department does, and it's just not being shown today. We are, in terms of the rents I do have, obviously. A bank in the exchange, you're not going to really find a good one or a newish one like this one or a standalone. But if you look at my page 4, at the bottom of this table are all exchange rents. So Arthur, Bannatyne, Arthur and Bannatyne, and McDermott near the top. Just comparing those to the rest of the downtown ones that we have there, you can just see that, those buildings would be older, and in the area that is not renting for as much as Portage or near True North. So the perfect rent that I would like to have shown is not here, but what my rents do show is a contrast between the two areas. And then obviously these buildings are older, so we did use a higher rent, but you would never ever see something like $30 or even 22 on this. I think 18 is more than generous for a building on the exchange. And that is our request at $176,550. Thank you.
I thank you, sir. Mr. Singh.
No questions.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. You've talked about location, but what is the age of this 300 William Street building?
It's 1998. Yeah, so this is a newer. It's one of there aren't many buildings of this age in the exchange. That's why we felt it was okay to go higher than the surrounding rents that we were seeing.
Okay, thank you very much.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson.
So just a question, you said the construction year, like when it was developed, was 1998?
Yes.
And so at that time, the police headquarters was in direct vicinity to this location?
Yeah, that would have been much closer. And then obviously the headquarters moved down to, I forget the building name, but we all know the old post office. I forget the address, but
yeah.
So yeah, that would have been much more useful to them at the time it was built, of course.
Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, this used to be a junior's restaurant, did it not?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I will take your word for it. It was built when I was 6, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the year built 98, 1998, you
Yes.
said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Summation either party?
No summation.
No, thank you.
Okay. We'll go on to 330 St. Mary Avenue. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4817. Address 600 330 St. Mary Avenue, business ID 25644. It's Colliers International. PID is 21878. Premise area is 13,374 square feet. Base ARV is $14.17. Occupancy costs is $33,435. ARV is $222,960. And recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $222,960. Based on the board's decision to maintain the market value of the realty. And you can see subject property leases from the realty presentation that was presented, and that's presentation.
I thank you, sir. Mr. Newfield.
No questions, thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson.
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson.
I have no questions, thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, your presentation.
We'll just request confirmation for today, thank you. There is some, I mean, this is our building. There's some questions about the TI. I don't think we're quite paying $15 without it. I just don't have that information in front of me, and it's just going to look like I'm grubbing for my own building if I argue against it. So I will confirm. Thank you.
So you're seeking confirmation then?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay. Let's go to 112 Market Avenue. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4320. Address is 112 Market Avenue. Business ID is 52322. The tenants are Saddlery on Market. It is owner occupied. 2 premise IDs. One is 17642, which is a C9. And that's in the basement. Premise area is 6,500 square feet. The other one is a C4, which is standard restaurant at premise ID 17645 with a premise area of 6,500 square feet. Total occupancy costs is $16,250, and a total ARV is $145,680. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $145,680 based on the board's decision, which was to maintain the realty value, market value. And on page 5, you can see the rent comparables for the premises. That's the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, questions?
Yes. What is the age of this building?
The age of this building, I don't have that information with me.
Okay. So I assume you don't have ages of your comps then. That would be my next question.
Pardon?
I guess you don't have ages of your comps either then?
No, I don't.
Okay. Just a second. Yeah, okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson,
I did have a question. It's divided into two areas, both 6,500 square feet. So the second one is the basement, is it? Like premise ID 17,645, is that the basement?
The basement is 17642.
The basement is the
the-
first one?
Pardon?
Sorry, the basement is the first one on your,
Yes, and the
People.
second one is a standard restaurant.
and that's the main floor.
Yes.
Okay, that answers my question because I thought it was reversed. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anders,
I have no questions. They've been asked and answered. Thanks.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, your presentation.
Follow-up question, if that's okay. The first bid at the basement, what percentage of that is finished? I noticed it's the whole floor and it's at 724. Is that including the unfinished portions?
I don't have that information with me.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Can I proceed then?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Market Restaurant, the Saddlery. This building was built in 1898. It does show quite well that the age of it, and of course a big portion of this is a basement. Now on my page 7, you can see that there is a finished portion of the basement, but half of it though is page 8, and that's completely unfinished, barely use it for storage. The assessor, I think it looks as though they blended a restaurant basement rent and then I guess maybe a storage rent, but I think 724 is much higher than they would be seeing for that. All in all, a basement is not going to rent very high. I think a restaurant in a basement generally you don't kind of see a lot of that in the city either. Usually you just see a storage, and this restaurant itself, I mean, that's basically overflow space. They would only use that if they're full, and on market they have not been getting full. They're not common for them to be full. It is, however, used. We're okay with it being on the assessment because there is the bar down there, but I would contend that the 6,500 is, about half unfinished. $9 we used. I mean, I guess mainly that's just the age. This building is going to see so many difficulties to have it rented out. No matter what you put in there, it's a restaurant may make a bit higher rent than an office. Sorry. But an office may go as low as $6-7 in an old 1898 building like this in an area where the market isn't very strong. And then that, again, I'll point to my Bannatyne Arthur rents, which would be the what this would be renting for in an office if they had an alternate use. And then on my page 5, those are basement rents at the top. None of them are perfectly indicative of this property. We couldn't find any basement rents nearby. But it does show that obviously a basement's going to rent considerably lower. Those buildings would have $12 to $20 rents above floor. So I know 2025 Corridon's renting for about $20, $22, and they're at $5 in the basement. My final request is $120,700. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Singh, questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Davidson?
Yes, I have a question on the occupancy costs. Yours appear to be lower because the air conditioning isn't for the whole of the space.
Yes, sorry, I just caught that. I missed that. My apologies. The basement doesn't have proper air conditioning, and then obviously a kitchen is virtually impossible to air condition. Generally, we did have a municipal board decision where that was acknowledged. That kitchens are virtually impossible to keep air conditioned for comfortable occupancy because of the makeup air. So the AC would exclude the kitchen area and that basement.
Okay, so then it's all due to the reduced area for the air conditioning in the basement.
Yes, that would be the only disagreement for
Okay.
our occupancy costs. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for catching that.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Summation, either party?
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
We'll move on to 280 Stradbrook Avenue. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4695. Business ID is 37872 at 280 Stradbrook Avenue. It's One Life Workplace Safety Solutions LTD. The premise ID is 23187. Two premise IDs. One is first floor, the other one is second floor. First one is PID 23187. And the second one is PID 287688. They have both the same square footage of 2,062 square feet. The first PID is for base ARV per square foot is $15.97. The second floor is $14.11. Total occupancy costs is $5,155. And the total ARV is $72,360. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $72,360 based on the board's conclusion of the NOI based on the Assessment and Taxation Department and the cap rate of 6.25%. Page 5, you can find the office comparables or rent comparables for the premises. That's the presentation.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield?
Yes, you have this as rented. Is that true?
Pardon?
Sorry, is it possible that this is owner occupied?
It is possible. I don't have that information.
Okay. Then I guess if it were owner occupied, those rents at $24 would be book rents. Is that correct?
Yeah, it seems like owner occupied because yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Ms. Davidson?
I have no questions either. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Newfield, your presentation.
Thank you. The property was rented by the current owner at $13, and then they purchased it, I believe, in 2017. I could have that date wrong though. The rent we've always applied was that 13, just because it was what they were paying. It was clean. It was easy to just throw forward. I would argue though that a lot of what I said on 6 Donald would be applicable here as well. The rents I'd be looking at again are that 305 Broadway on my page 4, 18, and 19. And even 17, that's a bit smaller, but I'd say Broadway is much better situated. It's, you're going to be within much more parking, a lot easier for clients to get to. This building, we've just applied 13 as we've done so in the past, but I could argue 12 as well, but I won't make a change. I think the biggest drawback of this building, obviously, being the just south of the bridge, traffic is it's a bit hard to get into access for here. You've got a one-way on Stradbrook here, and then Donald, which is not technically a one-way, but you can't turn around after Stradbrook, so you are going all the way to the bridge to turn around for if you do miss this turn going north, or if you're north of it at all. Not the most attractive part of, I guess it is downtown, but you could argue that it is outside of downtown as well, depending how you look at it. So that's the reason we used 13, and of course to the 305 Broadway rent, I think is a good one for it. And our request is, sorry, $63,920. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Singh, questions?
No questions.
Ms. Davidson?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Summation, either party?
No thanks.
No, thank you.
Okay. Let's go on to 677 Portage Avenue. Mr. Singh, your presentation.
File number is 22-4683. 677 Portage Avenue. Business ID is 19748. There's Spectrum Health Center. There, it's owner occupied. Premise. There's three premise IDs. One is 20279. It's C2. The second premise ID is 26479. It's a C9 basement, leasable, and third premise ID is 26480 as a C6, which is storage. There's three premise areas. First one is is 4,159 square feet. Second one is 2,000 square feet, and the third one is 335 square feet. You can see the base ARV per square feet. The C2 is $13.51. The C9 is $5.41. C6 is $9.24. And the total occupancy cost comes out with a ARV value, total ARV value of 86,400 square feet. Our recommendation is to reduce the ARV to $76,860 based on the board's decision, which is to use the net operating income of the applicant with a cap rate of 7.5%. And page 5, you can see the applicant's rents. And page 6, you can see our workup using the applicant's rents to come up with a total ARV of 76,860 square feet. And page 7 is rent comparables of the premises. That's the presentation.
Sorry. Sorry. Mr. Newfield, are you in agreement with the recommendation of the city?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Panel members, any questions in regards to the presentation and the recommendation by the city?
I have no questions.
I have no questions either, thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to 1919 Portage Avenue. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This file number 22-3918. Address 1919 Portage Avenue. Business ID is 56749. It's McLennan and Associates CPAs, owner occupied. There's two premise IDs. First one is 6472. The second one is 31209. First premise area is 1,413 square feet. The second premise area is 1,047 square feet. Similar base ARVs. The first one is $15.83. Second one is $15.43. With the total occupancy cost, the first one is $3,462. Second one is $2,565 for a total ARV of $44,000. $520. Recommendation is to confirm the business assessment value of $44,520. Page 2 and 3, you can see pictures of the building and the premise areas. Page 4, you can see the comparable rents. And page 5, you can see the board's decision. Which is to confirm the realty value, market value. And that's the present. The last page is the realty markup of the how they came up with the market value, and that's the presentation.
I thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield.
We are not contesting because it is below threshold. I just had one quick question. And that's on my page 1, is from online, and it's showing 46,020, and you're at 44,520. I mean, it clearly I got that from the website. I'm just wondering if that was adjusted internally at some point, maybe before the appeal.
This brief was done by another assessor, okay. So I don't have that information with me.
Okay, no, yeah, it's not a problem because it's fine. We're okay with it. That's unusual. I just thought I'd ask, but we are okay with the assessment as is. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson.
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson.
I have no questions. Thanks.
Okay. Either party want a summation?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Anybody need a break? 5-10 minutes, whatever you like.
Sure.
All right. Okay, as we're going to shut it down, we're going to have a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 10:19. Thank you, Jeswinder. We'll call the hearing back to order, and we're gearing to go to 2300 St. Mary's Road. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4721. Address is 2300 St. Mary's Road. Business ID is 7346. It's owner occupied. Owners are S. Merrick Construction LTD. Premise ID is 33642. Premise area is 4,995 square feet. Base ARV per square feet is $20.61. Total occupancy cost is $12,488. The ARV is $115,440. Recommendation is to reduce the ARV to $104,880 based on the board's decision. Actually, based on 15-1 signed by the assessor and applicant. And page 3, you can see the markup of what was presented and what was agreed upon. And page 4, you can see the premise markup with the rent of $18.50. Total ARV is $104,880. And page 5 is the rent comparables based for the premise ID. That's the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, are you in agreement with the recommendation by the city?
Yes, we are. We signed a 15-1 at that.
Okay.
For realty.
Ms. Davidson, questions of the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. So we'll move on to the next one, which is 401 Provence Boulevard. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4476. Address 401 Provence Boulevard. Business ID is 28241. Tenants is ID Fusion Software Inc. There's two premise IDs. One is 4176. And the other one is 31234. The first area is 2,063 square feet. The second area is 286 square feet. The base ARV per square foot for the first one is $16.74. The base ARV per square foot for the second one is $19.20. Total occupancy cost for the first one is $5,158. For the second one is $715. The ARV total is $45,900. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $45,900 based on the board's decision of using the NOI, net operating income of the assessment and taxation department with a cap rate of 8%. Page 5 is the rent comparables, and that's the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, questions?
No, thank you. We are just going to request confirmation as it's under the threshold.
Ms. Davidson, any questions?
I have none, thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go on to 605 Desmarins Street, unit number 200. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4851. Address 200-605 Days Meron Street. Business ID is 2856. Tenants are Parenti Rightmar Inc. The premise ID is 3099. Premise area is 5,462 square feet. The base ARV per square foot is $16.26. The total occupancy cost is $13,655 with a ARV of $102,480. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV at $102,480. The city has decided to appeal the realty to the municipal board.
Really?
Page 2 and 3, you can see the board's decision to cut the realty value, market value. Page 5 is the rent comparables for the premise ID, and that's the presentation.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Newfield?
Yeah. No, were you aware that we had an assessor down there to remeasure this?
Again, you probably presented that during the realty brief as well. I'm not aware of that. No.
Would you know whether or not, or would you have an opinion about whether or not the board adjusted the area for this, or do you not know?
I don't have that information. No. I believe the board's decision was based on the NOI presented by the applicant and a cap rate presented by the assessment and taxation department.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. And then I guess so. This one as well. I didn't know you appealed this. Actually, we're not getting we were only up to this January for our municipal board appeal letters. So That's, I had a feeling based on no recommendation, but I guess, is this, the question then, was this realty appealed in the past by the city? Is there any active older realty decision appeals?
I don't have that information with me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you, Ms. Davidson.
I have a question. On your presentation, you're showing under subject lease information for this property, a reported rent per square foot of $84.61. Can you explain that one?
So this is probably owner occupied, and that would be book rent.
Okay, thank you very much.
I thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Just in that regard, a follow-up question to that. So your presentation on page 1 there, it says owner occupied, no.
So that would be subject lease information. So this is the lease. This is the lease that they gave us, and that's what they reported, which is $84.61, which is kind of outrageous for any person to pay. Yeah. So.
Okay, those are all my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Singh, the question, I might as well ask it. I guess the applicant is using 5,000 square feet, and the city's at 5462.
Yes.
So is this the discrepancy? It's less than 500 square feet. Yeah. It's okay, Mr. Singh. That's okay. I'll ask Mr. Newfield. Mr. Newfield, your presentation.
Thank you. The property has gone through a number of cross appeals in the past. I believe 2020 is under appeal by the city, and 2018 is under appeal by us. Now, we actually had an agreement to resolve 18, 20, and sort of 23 that were not really completed in time. So we ended up we had an agreement on 20 and 18 that had the areas changed, but the areas were never actually physically changed by 23. So the agreement totally fell through. We're not really sure what the reason for why the city's not changing the area. My guess would be because they have it under appeal that they don't agree with their contention. We did have a former assessor that actually came down to the site and recognized that there was vertical penetrations. The building is separated by first, second, and basement, and the first and basement are rented out, where the second is owner occupied. So when you have multiple tenants, you have to go to a BOMA standard where you remove vertical penetrations and common area from the rentable area. And that's where we got the 5,000. Now the floor itself is 5,462. That is true, but that is the plan area, and that is not all rentable, considering that the 462 would be stairwells and the common area. So we have had this revised, the area 2 years in a row now at the realty, and both times the business tax hasn't been reflected. If you go to my page 3, here is the reverse extrapolation of how we calculated that assessment, and you can see that the NOI matches exactly, so the cap can't be wrong, and then the rest is all of our numbers. So this is exactly what we presented. So it was this we're looking at as the second floor. So 931 was applied by the board of the realty for this unit already. So we're just asking that 931 be carried forward, and that gets us a total of 59,050. And then the area there was some understanding that the area was wrong in the past, but that it hasn't materialized from the assessment department since. But it has been changed by different boards, and we would contend that it should be changed again. And so the difference in our assessment being the area and the rentable value. And yeah, for a request of 59050. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newfield. Mr. Singh, questions of Mr. Newfield?
No questions.
I thank you. Ms. Davidson?
I have no questions, thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions, thank you.
I thank you. Summation, either party?
No, thank you.
No thanks.
Okay. Let's
Mr.
go
Chairperson, we
to,
lost your video.
okay. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we just can't see you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, okay. I don't know what happened here.
There should be a little button for the camera. You can just turn it on.
Okay, okay, here we go. Okay. What happens is the internet goes down periodically and it just shuts down everything. Anyways, okay. Let's go to, I think it's number 80 St. Anne's Road. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4665, 80 St. Anne's Road. Business ID is 6117. It's occupied by Randall Homes. Randall Homes. There's two premise IDs. One is a C2. The first one is it's 28758. And the second one is a C9 leasable basement, which premise ID of 28759. The first PID premise area is 5,897 square feet. The C9 premise area is 2,128 square feet. The first premise base ARV per square feet is $14.50. The second premise is $8.50. Total occupancy cost of the first premise is $14,743. The second premise is $4,576 with a total ARV of $122,940. Recommendation, this has already been reduced in our system to $122,940. This is based on the board's decision, or no, this is based on a 15-1 signed by the assessor and applicant. And page 3, or page 2 was 15-1, page 3 is the workup that is shown. And you'll notice on the third part of it, we have a rent of $14.50 for 5,897 square feet and $8.50 for the premise of 2,128 square feet. And that's the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, are you in agreement with the recommendation by the city?
I just need to look at it. Okay, so this was it was revised already, right? So it's at 122,940 currently.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure what to write on the
the
brief,
yeah,
but it's already been revised.
Okay, so yeah, no, we're fine with that. That was, I guess it was revised prior to being issued due to our realty.
All right. I thank you. Ms. Davidson, questions?
No, I have none, thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions, thank you.
All right, let's move on to the last property, which is 1565 Wilson Place. Mr. Singh, whenever you're ready.
This is file number 22-4488, address 1565 Wilson Place. Business ID is 38245, occupied by Payworks Inc., owner occupied. Two premise IDs, 1871 is a C2. The second premise ID is C9, which is basement leasable. The first premise is 32,530 square feet. The second premise is 16,265 square feet. The base ARV per square foot for the first premise is $17.45. Base ARV per square foot for the second premise is $13.85. Occupancy cost for the first premise is $81,325. For the second premise is $40,663. For the total ARV of $914,880. Recommendation is to maintain the ARV of $914,880. Page 2 to 3 to 4, you can see the office rent comparables. Please ignore the I&E that I submitted. That's my mistake. That was for 2022. What I wanted to show is that they're only showing the above grade total leasable area of 32,600 square feet, and they show that for the I&E of 2020 as well. So, but please ignore this. This was my mistake. And page 11 and onward are pictures of the basement area. It was turned into an office area in 2018, and first two pictures are from 2022. The rest are from 2018, and that's the presentation.
I thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Newfield, questions?
Yeah. So the lower bid there, that's the basement?
Yes, C9, it's basement leasable.
So, sorry, I just lost I've got so many of these open. And I can never find my documents. Sorry. So we've got a rent of $13.85 in a basement. Is that's correct?
Yes.
And what did this building start its life out as?
I don't have that information.
Okay. Are there a lot of buildings in the city that would pay upwards of $1 million a year in rent?
Again, if it's comparable to this one, yes, but again, I don't have that information.
Okay. And are you aware that Payworks is moving out of this site?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so, okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you, sir. Ms. Davidson?
I have a question on your comparables that you're showing on page. Sorry, it keeps flipping here. Oh, I guess it's on starting on the second page. What is the age of this building?
This one, I don't have that information with me.
Okay. Which comparables would you say are most comparable to this subject property? Which one should we maybe look at more closely?
So which premise ID are you talking about, or are you talking about
both of them? I guess. Yes, both, please.
So they are rated differently. One is the C2 and one is the C9. So I would have to give different comparables to each of them.
Okay.
For the C2, Wilson Place, that would depend on the location as well.
Sorry, which number is that? You have numbers down the side for your comps.
Oh, for a premise area of what 1871. So that's a above grade that has over 32,000 square feet.
Which,
So I would actually look at rent comparables, possibly Waverly Street. You would look at comp 10 and comp 11. It's hard to match 82,000 square feet. You can also, I would also look at all the ones with Waverly Street. So also comp 29, comp 30. Yeah, so that would be for premise one. Premise 1871. For premise 274423. Would look at again comparables on Waverly Street. Comp 76. Maybe maybe some on Pembina Highway, comp 49, but mostly on Waverly Street. It's hard to match the square footage of these premises, and so I'm looking at the location.
okay. And then my other quick question is the rents that you utilized in your modeling, are they model rents? Are they model generated entirely?
Yeah, so they are model rents, but the model rents are based on the market data that we get from owners and tenants.
They're across the whole city, or they are when coming up with the 1745 and the 1385, like methodologically, do you have all the rents of the cities for these types of properties, or are they regionalized to come up with these at all?
So these rents, like you said, are model generated. What they do, they factor in the location, the age, and the square footage as well,
Okay.
as well as other parameters. I can't really talk directly about the modeling section.
Sure. Okay. Well, that answers my question. So thank you very much for that.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
The pictures that you provide, have you visited this building? Or where did the pictures come from?
So in 2018, an assessor went down there to because they had they totally redid the basement and made it into an office space. So they took those pictures. In 2022, field assistant went down there and took pictures of renovations that they did, and he took some pictures of the basement as well.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, your presentation?
Follow-up questions after that, if I may.
Certainly.
So I want to focus on your comp 10 and 11 that you mentioned, 1150 and 1250 Waverly. First off, are either of them converted warehouses?
I wouldn't know that, honestly.
Okay. Would you disagree if I said 1250 Waverly was a medical office?
I would take your word for it.
Okay. And 1150 was built as an office. Would you disagree with that?
1150, again, I don't have that information with me.
Okay. And then I guess, so my question being then, does the city adjust for economies of scale? As in, do they use lower net rates as the square footage gets higher? I think you had mentioned that it's hard to find these areas. to match?
Right. So that would be a question for the modeling section. I do know that we take in account of all I&Es submitted to us and present the information as is.
Okay, so just looking at your comps on Waverly, all of them are, or sorry, we're at 1745 for 32,000 square feet for the subject, but all of them are lower and much, much smaller. Why are we using the top end of the range, and I guess the closest being 72,000 square feet when we're at 32,000? Would it not, did the model not put out a lower number because it's a much higher square footage?
Not necessarily. There's other factors to take into account. Like I said, it's these are rent comparables of office properties throughout the city. Like I said, it's hard to match the area.
Yep. Yeah, and I can
premises.
appreciate that. So in other matters that would be considered would be construction. Is that correct?
Pardon?
Other matters that could be considered other than area and size, construction quality, is that? And
yes, of course, and the age.
So
there's
yeah,
other.
Sure. Okay. So if you had a converted warehouse next door, would that not be more indicative than a medical office and a building that started its life as an office?
Again, it depends on the quality inside as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, sure. So I guess if we, but assuming the buildings were identical and both converted warehouses, that would be a better comp, correct?
I can't say for sure. I would have to see the data.
Okay. All right. Wasn't getting the answers I was hoping for to ask this next question. If you had converted warehouse rents next door, would they go into the model?
As long as they, again, we're looking at office properties, so I'm not too sure. Like I presented office properties OFSs for rent comparables, so it depends what the warehouse is used for as.
Yeah. Okay. But if it was an office, then it would likely be in the model then, right?
Yes, it would depend on the other factors as well. Like I said, I can't talk directly about the modeling department.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Newfield, your presentation.
Okay, the site itself did start its life as a warehouse. It was converted. Payworks purchased it around 2012 or 14. I can't remember the exact date, but they did convert it. They spent considerable amount of money to convert it from a warehouse, and they have continuously spent money to keep it up to snuff because it has been such a difficulty with air leakage and thermal breaks. This building was not designed as an office. It was not designed for comfortable human occupancy. They've had to add that after the fact, and they've had so many issues just redoing it and fixing the outside thermal envelope. It's gotten to the point where they've deemed it as space they no longer want. They're going to try to get rid of it, and they're currently building a site off of Bishop Grandin, the sugar beets lands that are being developed. It's in construction, and they will be moving into something that is more suited to them and something that has not as many problems as this building has had. Now, the reason I brought up the buildings next door, 1100 Waverly, that is the former hydro warehouses that were converted to office, and they're right next door, and they don't seem to be coming through in the assessor's briefs. That would be the best comp. 1100 Waverly started off as hydro, basically warehousing and other sort of hydro office, but very similar style of construction, one floor only. But that should be in the model. But it seems that they're using office rents across the city instead. The rents that were put forward by the assessor on Waverly do have some bearing to the market area, but those buildings are better in every way. The 1250 that I had mentioned, that one is the I guess what is it? There's a naturopath there. They're right on Waverly and McGilvery. It's a naturopath, and a dietitian, I believe, or maybe some sort of skincare like that. That's a medical office that they were relying on for this converted warehouse at their comp 11 at $19. That's not even in the same realm. My other comps here, I do have at 1080 Waverly. This would be a better building that was built as an office / retail building. And they're showing in that area at $11 and $14 for a much smaller space at 14. And then of course too, we do have 16,200 square feet of office in a basement. An office in a basement is not going to see a higher, as high as a rent as you're going to, as $15 or $14 at the city's at. And the building itself, I mean, you've already got issues with thermal envelopes, and now we're also in the basement. So not only is the main floor a thermal issue, a basement then becomes even worse. This is not a very attractive space. It was something that they needed and they used. They did it up a bit better in order to make it more comfortable for them to occupy as an office, but the bones of this building are still a warehouse, and the bones of this building are problematic. We felt that the 10 was fair for the main, and then the 8 being on the basement, because it is still an office that's occupied, so it's not storage. It shouldn't be a nominal $2, $3, $4 rent. There is an office that's used in there, so we're okay with applying the rent to it. But I mean, $17.50 for this. I mean, you saw earlier 330 St. Mary. That's our office. We're renting for $15 downtown. Obviously, that's way different, but you're not going to be paying a premium to be in a converted warehouse on Waverly or Wilson, which is also on Waverly. I think the assessment has been way off on this property forever, and I mean, the fact that they're moving out of this space because it's no longer working for them, I think is very indicative of that quality as well. So our final request for the value is $577,410, and that is much more indicative of what a building like this would rent for. The city's closer to $1 million. Nobody's paying $1 million to be in this building, or 900,000 or 800,000. I can never see that happening. It's going to likely sell to a user who's going to use it for themselves, and if they got that much rent out of it, that would be a miracle. And that's why we were requesting $577,410. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newfield. Mr. Singh, questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Davidson?
Yes, I was just wondering, given what I'm hearing, was this property appealed on the realty assessment?
Yes, we have. We might have one as far back as 2016 on this file. I think we have
appealed for the 2023 assessment.
Yes, I think we've got 16, 18, 20, and 23 under appeal. Maybe 16 is resolved, but it's definitely 18, 20, 23.
Do you recall what the 2023 assessment decision was?
Actually, it wasn't appealed for 2023.
Okay, we did not appeal the 23 final.
No, I couldn't find anything.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that might have been partly due to them moving out, that there was some confusion there. Yeah, I mean, we've had this under appeal, old appeals forever, and we haven't really got anywhere with the board with them yet because there's been so many difficulties with this file. If 23 is not under appeal, it's because it's an oversight, not because of the value. We're comfortable with the value. The value certainly is way too high.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thanks for your presentation.
Okay. I have none. Summation, either party?
No, thank you.
No,
right.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Newfield, thank you for your presentations and results very soon.
Great.
Mr. Singh, thank you for your presentations, and you have a good day. So we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Too.
You too.